Hello. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to use factoring technique to solve a quadratic equation. Regarding factoring, please go refer to another module, which is module number 5 for factoring techniques, factoring trinomials. So here, we're going to talk about quadratic equation, solving quadratic equation by factoring. First of all, for example, we are given a general form. Let's talk about the general form. The general form of a quadratic equation. Quadratic equation. Now we're going to talk about the meaning of the general form of quadratic equation. Usually it's in this form, provided that a is not 0. A is not 0. Okay, so this is a typical, this is a general form of a quadratic equation. Well, A, B, C are parameters. So A, B, C are called parameters. As we choose different values for A, B, C, we get a different quadratic function, quadratic equations. And what is the meaning of this quadratic equation? The meaning basically say, okay, we have a function, okay, and this function is f of x equals to ax squared, okay, plus bx plus c. It's a function, and the input is x, and the rule of the function is, this is the rule of the function, okay? And this equation is saying, if the output is 0, okay? If the output is 0 by this rule of the function, okay? And our task is to identify all the inputs, all the input x, such that this is true, such that the output will be 0. So that's the meaning. So it's really an if statement from a grammar's perspective, right? We don't know what's the input, and we're looking for the input, but we know what the output should be. So in order to solve this kind of equation, we're going to talk about 3 methods to solve this equation. Okay, so for example, example number 1. Okay, suppose that I have A equals to 1, B equals to 5, and C equals to 6. Okay, and as a result of these specifics about the parameter, we know A equals to 1, B equals to 5, and C equals to 6. So once again, the same scenario, right? If the output is 0, and in our case, of course, this is the rule of the function, and we want the output to be 0. We don't know the input. We don't know what the input will make the output equal 0, but we're going to identify them, right? So we end up with this equation. To read this equation, the proper language to read it would be if, okay? If this if this is equal to 0, then find all possible solutions. Okay, so we got the grammar correct. We got the grammar correct. So the way when we solve this equation by factoring, what we can do in this case is that if the factoring is pretty easy, then we can go by factoring. Okay, I believe this is rather simple examples that you can factor. Any way you can to factor this. Okay, and you can verify that you have the factors, right? You have the factors. If you FOIL this product, you are going to get x squared, okay, plus 2x plus 3x plus 6, and which is this will make it the right factors we need. Okay, so right now we're not going to get into how to factor because we have another session to talk about how to factor. So here, suppose we factor this, and next the tool we're going to use, we called this is a property. Okay, we view this as a times b equal to 0. So we view x plus 2 as one number, and we view x plus 3 as another. So this will be viewed as the product of two numbers is equal to 0. Right? If the product of two numbers is equal to 0, then we know, right? So we can use this sentence. If the product of, we view this as the product of two numbers. So if the product of two numbers is 0, then one of them must be 0. Okay, this property is called zero product property. This is called a zero product property. Okay, zero product property. If you look it up from any literature, if you wish, and that's what is called. Okay, zero product property. So using zero product property, and then we can get to the next steps. We can get the steps. Okay, so either x plus 2 is 0 or x plus 3 is 0. And as a result, we get x equals to -2 or x equals to -3. So the answer, so if we show the steps, right? Usually when you solve these kind of equations, you want to make sure you show the work, right? How do you show work, right? Show work. If we are to show work, and you should really just have a few steps to show, right? If this is true, then this is true. Okay, you can remove the box and remove the box. Remove the box. Oh, what's going on here? Okay, remove the box. And then you just insert these steps here. And that's really all the work you need to show, just 4 lines. And then you say the solution to the equation. Solution to that equation would be x equals to -2 or x equals to -3. And you can check it by plugging in these two numbers respectively to get the solutions. So that's the first example. So the property, the zero product property is at the heart of factoring. So first you have to have a 0, right? You know the output is 0. Then you say, what if the output is 5? Well, then we have to convert it to 0, right? For example, for example, okay, so this is, we have example number 1. We have example number 1. So let's have example number 2. Okay, example number 2. Suppose that I have x squared minus 3x equals to 4, right? Equals to 4. Then I can factor the left-hand side. But it's the product equals to 4, right? And we don't have a product. We have 0 product property, but we don't have 4 product property. So if you do this, you're not going to be able to use 0 product property, and we don't have 4 product property. Okay, so what we can do here is make 0. Okay, so the first step will be make 0. Okay, make 0 by subtracting 4 on both sides, and then factor, which will get x plus 1 times x minus 4 equals to 0. And you can always verify, right? We can always verify. Okay, so you can verify. How do we verify? You verify by FOIL this product, because you want to make sure you get the right factors. You get the right factors. And here we're factoring. We're verify this, and so plus x minus 4x minus 4, and that we end up with x squared minus 3x minus 4. So that's what you want to make sure. Okay, and then the rest of the step is similar because we can apply 0 product property. So here we're going to apply 0 product property. Okay. So x plus 1 equals 0, or x minus 4 equal to 0. And in the end, we get x equals to -1, or x equals to 4. Okay, so here we apply 0 product property. We apply 0 product property, and the answer, and so in the end, the solution to the equation, which is this guy, would be x equals to -1 or x equals to +4. Okay, of course, sorry. When we actually show work, when you show work to your teacher or to whoever you want to show your work to, you can just take this step. Oh, sorry. Take this step. Okay, because the narrative would be, if this is true, right? If this is true, then this is true. So you're making 0. You don't have to write down the phrase making 0. You just follow the steps. Okay, and this is how we read it. If this is true, then this is true. If this is true, and then the factor form will be true. Okay, you don't need to verify. Just just verify on your scratch paper. Your teacher or whoever grades your work doesn't really need to see that. Okay, and 0 product property, you don't have to mention. So that's pretty much your work. This is your work. And finally, you're going to have a closure to the problem that you're solving. So then you say the solution to that would be x equals -1 or x equals to 4. So these are the examples of solving equations by factoring. Hope this helps. Thank you for watching.